everybody, and welcome back to Bigger on the Inside, the New Who Doctor Who Watch Along podcast. We're going to be talking about the trailer for Revolution of the Daleks, the 2021 New Year's Day special. And the trailer just dropped. I'm with Harry, as always. Are we just going to go through what we noticed in the trailer, things we thought, things we think is going to happen?
Well, the first thing is pretty much based on the first thing which Jack says, which is that when you travel with a doctor, you don't get a choice of whether you leave her or she leaves you. A pretty strong indication that at least one of our current companions is going to be leaving the doctor at the end of this story.
My understanding is that Graham and Ryan will both be leaving. I know there was talk that Bradley Walsh would be staying, but I know over this week there's been a lot of talk of Graham disappearing as well. It makes me think that maybe one of them will die and the other one will leave. I would say possibly Ryan dies and Graham leaves. I think that would be the way to do it, I feel.
Other than kind of how long Jodie's been in space prison, there's been no indication of how long they've been separated, the fam from the doctor. Obviously quite a while, judging from Jodie's markings on the wall and also the fans, all of their post-it notes and stuff on the interior of the TARDIS. So perhaps my running theory, I don't think either of them are going to die, but I think that Graham's cancer will have by this point perhaps returned, and that will be the reason that him and Ryan are going to have to bow out.
So that what you just said, that Jack quote, is also, it plays over some footage of the actual prison planet and the prison cell. There's a lot of talk that it could possibly be Sharda, which we've seen with Tom Baker and in a few comics as well. I think that's a pretty good shout. I know when we spoke to Dominic Martin about that, he mentioned that he thinks it could be Sharda as well. He says there's a pretty good chance about that. They look quite similar. The prison cell, I had a look to see what I could spot in all the other different areas, because there's that shot, isn't there, where it sort of pans backwards. I couldn't make out anything for sure. There's a big green monster in the corner. The cell in front of the doctor, I couldn't make out what it was, but it looks an awful lot like a minion from Despicable Me. Just throwing that out there. Could be an adipose. That'd be quite cool. I think that's a good chance for us to see maybe a few throwaway one-time villains that we've never actually seen before. Stuff like that, maybe a clockwork droid, something like that. I'm pretty sure there's a Cyberman in there as well, just one Cyberman on his own. We're back in Ruth's TARDIS as well, with all the post-it notes all over the wall. That scene took me by surprise, actually, because I forgot we were going to... Sorry?
Wasn't that one of the TARDIS that they stole from Gallifrey, that Jodie threw them all in and sent home?
Yes, you're right there. Sorry, yeah.
It was the same design as Ruth's TARDIS, kind of like the revamped classic interior.
Yeah, we might be wrong there, so do let us know in the comments if you think we're wrong. So that means there's going to be at least two TARDISes in this episode, because there's going to be the Doctor's TARDIS, which she was taken from, and this new TARDIS that it seems her companions and possibly Jack are going to be exploring in. I wonder if Jack does... he does end up in that TARDIS. I imagine he will be the one to fly it, because he's had experience flying the TARDIS several times.
Yeah, I imagine it would make a lot of sense if at the end of this story, Jack just goes off in that TARDIS. He has his own TARDIS now. If Clara and me can have a TARDIS, why can't Jack have a TARDIS?
Exactly. In that same scene, Yaz is shown a picture on a phone. I think that's going to be the news about these new defense drones that have come to take over, and they're going to be slightly surprised by that. We're getting a bit deeper into this now. New defense drones. The first thing I thought was, do the people of Earth, have they completely forgotten what Daleks are and what they look like?
Humans are better in one respect. You are better at subscribing. Seek, locate, subscribe.
This is the continuity with people remembering Daleks, because obviously I remember kind of after the Battle of Canary Wharf in Series 2, kind of throughout the rest of Russell's run, people did remember the Daleks. But then in Series 5, everyone forgot the Daleks. And the explanation they gave there was that the crack in like the interdimensional time-space crack, because that was like erasing people, changing time and stuff, that had collectively erased all of Earth's memories of the Daleks. So, and even I guess even after that was fixed, people still didn't remember the Daleks.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, one theory I've had that I spoke about, it went not to blow my own trumpet. As I'm watching this, I'm sort of ticking off everything that I predicted in my What Culture article a few weeks back. Um, Jack Robertson's return, I called that our Doctor Who's version of Donald Trump. Now, my theory is that he acquires the Dalek, some form of Dalek, maybe a blown up version of the Dalek, and basically starts to sell a revamped version of these as defense drones as a business idea. And then, okay, so if we're going to go slightly into spoilers for the episode with stuff that wasn't revealed in the trailer, there's being set photos of bronze Daleks and these new Daleks. It's not really that spoiler in it because I bought the Radio Times today for the first time ever, and they talk about these leaked set photos in them. So I guess it's not too spoilery to talk about, but I believe we do see the bronze Daleks in this episode. So maybe there's a battle between there. He gets his hands on it. There's clearly a scene where someone's going to get their hands on the actual alien Dalek because there's a shot of all these green pipes and pods up the wall, and in each one is the actual Dalek alien, the actual Dalek itself.
Well, I'm guessing that has to be because obviously there's one shot of the a Dalek ship, so I'm guessing that must be the interior of that ship.
Yeah, or maybe that's like a warehouse that Jack Robertson has created to store the actual Dalek itself for these defense drones, and maybe it's not known to the public and the government that they're actually alien life forms and that they think they are just these AI drones. It also seems we're back at 10 Downing Street as well. With a new prime minister, no longer, obviously, Harriet Jones is no longer around. I wonder if we'll get a passing mention to Harriet Jones.
I know Capaldi during his run had one throwaway Harriet Jones line.
The way this character is dressed, I've just put a thing out on Twitter to ask who the actor is because I don't recognize her. But she seems to be like a parody version of Theresa May. Who's apparently played by Dame Harriet Walter.
Interesting.
I'm not familiar with her work, but yeah. We get a lot of Jack and the Companions. It seems like I know when we spoke to Dom, we said we think some of the episodes are going to be with Jack and the Companions, and the rest of it's going to be Jack and all of them reunited. I'm starting to maybe rethink that and think this episode could be a lot to do with Jack and the Companions, and maybe last 15-20 minutes will be with the Doctor.
Yeah, I can't help but lie that I say I'm slightly worried by the quite startling lack of the Doctor herself in this trailer. There are only like kind of 2 or 3 shots of her, and she only had one line. And I just hope that they're kind of holding back on her half of the story, and that there's a lot more to it than we're seeing. Because I hope it isn't just her, waiting.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. Because I imagine it's from a production standpoint. I imagine they really want to make people interested, and they know people are calling for Jack. People have been asking for Jack, so they put a lot of Jack in the trailer and maybe save the main story for the actual episode.
Because I can't really tell right now from this trailer what's going to connect the Doctor in prison to the Daleks. There's not really any evidence of these two elements being connected at all right now.
No. What do you think of the new? We sort of talked about it a little bit. The new Dalek design. I really like the red flying drone version. They look amazing.
I'm really digging everything we've seen of the Daleks in this trailer. I think look great. I love them just kind of walking about, flying about. The ship looks great. The little Dalek out of the shell jumping on. Whose back was it? Was it Yaz's back?
It's Jack. Jack's back.
Do you think there's going to be a proper action-y set piece in this episode? I'm hoping there is.
I'm hoping there's going to be a few. I really want a scene where it's the Companions, Jack and the Doctor going off against the Daleks. I think that's what a lot of people want. A lot of people want to see these characters individually, but if we don't get that team up of these characters together, I think people are going to be a bit niffed. And if they don't put Jack with the Doctor, people are just going to be disappointed, and they're still going to be calling for Jack to return.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that could happen with this story is that for the first God knows how long of it, everyone's just asking, when's Jack going to be the Doctor? When's Jack going to be the Doctor? But hopefully, I feel like looks like there's enough interesting stuff going on here, and even the stuff that's kind of retreading old ground from past Dalek stories. I have hope that they'll find ways to kind of put a fresh spin on those ideas and concepts.
Yeah.
To kind of hold it.
Well, the episode itself is around 70 minutes, and we've seen a minute worth of footage. So
yeah,
there's 69 minutes of footage we haven't seen yet.